And here we are at another Tuesday. Good morning. Welcome to the Asian Nation. Thank you for joining us. Grab a cup of coffee. We're going to have a great half hour. We're going to be talking theater today, the return of live theater. Boy, I got to tell you, though, before we kind of talk about this, because one of our guests is the musical director at Parkview Baptist, Morrie Kaiser. So I would be remiss in talking about Parkview if I didn't talk about Coach Kenny Giat, who passed away on Sunday night, I believe. Boy, he put Parkview on the map pretty much. I mean, Coach Giat brought them to national fame, as a matter of fact. He turned them into a statewide powerhouse in the 2000s. He was 76 years old. He had cancer a couple of times and beat it. And then he had a third bout that kind of popped up, and unfortunately he didn't recover from that. Visitation, if you care to go, for Coach Giat is 6 to 8 this afternoon, Tuesday, at the Grace Life Fellowship, located at 10-210 Behringer Foreman. And then tomorrow, visitation's 10 a.m. until 11, and then the funeral's at 11. In lieu of flowers, the family asked that donations be sent to the Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center, and that makes sense. So our thoughts and our prayers are with Coach Giat's family. What a tremendous loss to our community. The theater, a lot of businesses, and I'm not making light of this at all, a lot of businesses have taken a major hit during the COVID pandemic, and some of them won't recover. And for a long time, there were a lot of theaters and a lot of entertainment venues that were wondering, are we going to be able to have a live audience? And Theater Baton Rouge, Jenny Ballard, we're going to talk to her in a couple of minutes. They got creative and actually did some online live performances on Zoom during the pandemic. They're now gradually starting to come back, so we want to talk to her about what they've got coming up this week. Also this week is Parkview Baptist's musical that they do every year. And last year they were shut down for COVID, but they snuck one in, very, very limited, during the summer for some of the performers that were excited about doing that show, and it might have been their only performance, so they did sneak it in. Well, we're back on the main stage, if you will, at Parkview. They always convert their gym into a theater, and I have with me Morrie Kaiser, a dear friend, and she is the drama teacher and the artistic director at Parkview. And she is with us. Now, we tape this on Zoom. She can be with us right now because she's in class. But Morrie, I've missed you.
I've missed you too, Johnny Asian.
I've missed the theater. Last year, when you and I were both at home for COVID,
right.
We were talking about doing a Zoom interview with some of your actors last year, and you were hopeful that you were going to put on, if I remember correctly, was it Beauty and the Beast? No.
It was, yes. And we did it in July.
You did get to do it.
We did it in July.
Now,
yes.
Did you have an audience in July?
Yes, what we did was we did it with social distancing between groups, and of course everybody wore a mask, and we did, temperatures and all of that. We could only be at about 30% capacity, so we also live streamed 2 nights. So we wanted to do it because, we were a week away from the show when COVID hit and we got shut down. So those kids and those seniors, I mean, it was just heartbreaking for them. They had worked so hard for so long. Not to mention the fact that I had rental costumes that had come in the day before. So we were pretty determined to do it. And so in June, we went back to rehearsal so that we could just get it all back together again. And then in July, we performed the show. But yes, we were very blessed. The school just was so cooperative and helpful and supportive of our wanting to do the show. And they wanted it for the kids as much as we did. So they made it happen, really. So I was very grateful.
Well, hopefully we're winding down the COVID, I think COVID will be with us for the rest of our life, but I think we're winding down the seriousness of distancing and all of that. People are getting shots. So we have a full-blown production again this year, and I want you to tell me about it. I've seen it once, but not at Parkview. It is Newsies. Give me all the information about it, start date, how can we get tickets, all of that.
Okay. Well, actually, we're having our preview tonight. It's really our final dress rehearsal. But we open it up to the Parkview family. We invite the teachers can come for free. The students come for $5. And we just reduce the price for our Parkview family so they get to come. And then tomorrow night we actually open, which is, I guess, a little bit odd for us to open on a Friday night. But then we go all next week. The 19th through the 24th was our original run. And we added 2 performances so that we could make up for the numbers who might want to come because we have to socially distance. So we can only be at 50%.
Well, that's better than 30% like last year, so that's great.
Yeah, that was tough. That was really tough. Last year we did 10 performances in July. So that we could fit as many people in as we could. We also did a recording of the chorus so that the whole chorus didn't have to be singing the entire time. And of course we backed the audience up and did the social distancing and all of that. But at the end of the day, it was really successful, and we just had such a blast with it, and we're very grateful we got to do it.
So you mentioned 50% capacity. So I'm guessing when you sell tickets for the performances, you will have specific. Obviously, they're all assigned seats, but you'll have it to where people that are in the same family unit can sit together. I'm thinking.
That's correct. Yeah, and we aren't selling online per se. We're not able to do Ticket Turtle like we normally do, or Arts People actually. And so we have a teacher. She's a middle school teacher, and she's actually the mother of our lead, Jack, and his brother, Crutchy. And so she did this for me over the summer and just did such a fabulous job. She is actually handling all the ticket sales. We're doing it through the Parkview website. There's a link for the tickets to Newsies. And what happens is you go in and you actually order them and pay for them online. And then Melanie Wales takes all of that information on a big chart, and she charts it out so that families are sitting with family members, and so that we're able to distance, to the extent that we can. And so she handles all of that for us. Yeah.
For people who don't know the story, and it's a fascinating story, kind of almost a true story, I think.
It is a true story.
Give me a little synopsis of Newsies.
Okay. Well, Newsies is actually, it is the Broadway version of the original Disney movie. There was a movie called Newsies, and it's based on a historical event. And there was a real character who was a 17-year-old man who led the strike in 1899 against Joseph Pulitzer. And he was a newsie, and of course he was among a lot of kids who were newsies, and he actually led a strike when Pulitzer raised the price of the papers. And this, of course, is the real event of 1899. The strike lasted for about 2 weeks, and Pulitzer finally had to capitulate and take the price down. So the Newsies technically won the day. So that's the kind of the basic story of what it is. And there was a character like this, but his name wasn't Jack. I can't really tell you what his real name was, but it is based on historical fact. So
fantastic. Well, and we've got some great. In fact, you kind of alluded to the song right there.
Yeah. "Seize the Day" is one of the great dance numbers. It's a huge dance show. It's really very chorus driven. It is a high energy, dance, I guess, specific kind of thing, because our choreographer, Trinaine Lessard, has just really knocked herself out with this one. She did all this choreography. We started back in January. And the kids learned all of the choreography first, and then we started with, of course, the singing work and music and all of that. So yeah, it's a very hard show. I'll be honest with you. I think it's the hardest one we've ever done.
Oh no, it's Phantom's the hardest one you've ever done.
I would think so too, but Jeff and I our technical director and I talked about it, and we agree. We think Newsies was more intense than actually Phantom.
Well, Newsies has a lot more dance in it, obviously, quite obviously, than Phantom did. But
yes, there are lots of moving parts to this show too. So it's a pretty tough show, but I think it's worth it. It's a great story. It's very compelling, and it's fun, and the music is wonderful. So we've really enjoyed doing it. It's been a lot of fun.
You guys always pick some great things to do that are so challenging for small town theater, much less high school theater, and you blow it out the water. I cannot wait to see this production.
It actually has come together quite nicely. Our leads are just superb. Kagan Wales plays the part of Jack.
Don't take much to be a dreamer. All you do is close your eyes.
His brother, Christian Wales, plays the part of Arcati. Carly Nunez plays the part of Catherine, and we're just blessed with these kids who have a lot of talent, a lot of drive, and a whole lot of want to, because this show really does challenge you. And we have been rehearsing 6 days a week since January, so it's very intense and it's difficult. But the kids decided it was worth it, and so they have stuck with it. And we've just tried to do everything we could through COVID, which is another reason we rehearse 6 days a week, because we had to divide the cast up and not rehearse everybody at the same time.
Gotcha.
Because we're not we're in the choir room to rehearse. We don't have a theater. We're in the gym. We go build a theater in the gym every year. But we only get about 2 weeks to block everything and adjust the choreography to be on that stage. So, it's a challenge, but, we think it's fun. So we've really enjoyed this one.
All week at Parkview Newsies. Go to the website. Give me that website again, Lori.
It's www.parkviewbaptist.com, and you will go to a link. There will be, if you scroll down, there will be a link to Newsies tickets. You click on that, and then it's going to take you to the order form. And you can pay by credit card, and it is a pretty easy thing to do. Now we are beginning to sell out. I think we're sold out for tomorrow night on the floor, but we do have bleacher seats. And those are really pretty good seats for this show, because you get to see all of the dance choreography. You're getting a sort of bird's eye view of everything that's going on stage. And choreography, Tremaine Lessard, unbelievable. Lisa Smith, of course, taught the music, and Jeffrey Pike, our technical director, has designed and built the set. He lights the show, he designs the sound. So we're just lucky. We have a great team, and I think this show is really going to be a good one. I do. I think
Parkview is blessed with your leadership. I'm going to tell you right now, I've said that before, and I think they know that.
Well, that is very sweet of you to say. Fortunately, we work as a team. We really do. And my job sort of is to work my way out of a job. So by the time the week of the show comes, I get to sit up in a chair and enjoy the show, because one of the things that we're very determined about is that the students run the show. We do not have adults backstage, although we do have a history teacher who's playing Teddy Roosevelt in the show. But we don't have adults backstage. None of the directors are backstage. We're all watching the show, and the kids run everything.
Lori Kaiser, thank you for joining us. I know you're going to go grab some lunch and get right back in the classroom. And Newsies all week at Parkview. We will see you there.
Thank you, Johnny. I appreciate it.
What a great visit with her, Lori Kaiser. She's been there for a while and continues to just do great work with that school and those students, and incredibly talented. Well, as we continue our theater show, the Baton Rouge Little Theater, now Theater Baton Rouge, is back on stage this week, as a matter of fact, and they have a great production that I had never heard of, but I understand that it is absolutely hilarious. And Jenny Ballard is the artistic director, not of this show, but basically the Theater Baton Rouge. And we spoke on Zoom as well last week. Jenny, how are you doing? How are things going?
We're doing okay. We're staying healthy, and the theater is doing pretty well thanks to all of our community support. So I'm happy to report that things are okay.
We got a big show opening this week, Blythe Spirit. I have no idea what this one's about. Usually when you do a show, I'll have a little knowledge of it. I'm not sure about this one, and it opens the 24th. So give me a heads up on what what's going on with this show. A little synopsis.
So Blythe, sure, absolutely. It is a very, very funny Noel Coward play that was written in the 1940s and set in the very late 1930s, 1939 to be exact. It is about failed writer Charles Condamine, who is working on his latest mystery novel. And he hears of this charlatan, he thinks, Madame Arcati, who he decides to invite to a dinner at their house. They're going to do a seance, and he's going to use all of this material for his new book. And so, of course, it turns out that Madame Arcati is not so much of a charlatan. She actually, during a seance, conjures his dead wife's ghost, Elvira. And so the rest of the play, Charles and his current wife, Ruth, are haunted by Charles's dead ex-wife, Elvira. And so hilarity ensues.
This sounds twisted.
Yeah, so it does. When I was here listening to myself talk about it, I was like, gosh, this sounds like something you would see on HBO. But no, it's actually really light comedy. It's very much British farce. It's really, really funny. Madame Arcati is the role of a lifetime for an actress above the age of 50. And Jennifer Johnson is playing Madame Arcati. She's fabulous. The cast is great. I'm actually going to watch a run through tonight, but I watched it last week, and it is very funny. It is a really, really funny show.
So you're not directing this one?
Just escape for a little bit. I'm not this one. I actually was going to. I love this play, and it's one of the ones that I really wanted to direct. But as I think you know, right now we currently have a staff of 2 administrative workers, me being one of them. And so there's just too much to do at the theater right now. And kind of the thing that I've had to put on the side for the time being is directing, which I love. But Clay Donaldson is a wonderful director. So when I knew that I had to step out, I knew exactly who I was going to ask to step in.
Now I'm looking at the cast here. These are some, I don't know, TBR veterans maybe?
Yes, actually, many of them are TBR veterans, I would say. So, of course, Jennifer Johnson, who I mentioned, who is playing Madame Arcati, she is truly wonderful. She has been involved with Theater Baton Rouge, I want to say, since 1968. So she's been involved with the theater for a really, really long time. I
bet she would know Shirley Simpson. Have you heard that name since you've been involved with the theater?
I do know the name.
She was very active in the 90s, 80s, and 90s, even probably before that. Anyway, continue. I'm sorry.
So we have Landon Corbin, who is actually newer to Theater Baton Rouge. His first show with us was actually this past May with our first virtual production, How I Learned to Drive, and he's done several things since.
See, I saw that one online. That fascinated me, how you guys did theater online, because some of the people with the boxes were set up to where when an actor or actress was looking at one another, they were looking at like they were right there, but they were miles apart in the city. That was
so it makes me
fascinating.
Thank you. It makes me really happy that you watched that. Our director, Shannon Walsh, and I talked about it for a long time before she started working on that show. And she and I were the ones who were having early conversations about if we're going to survive, we're going to have to figure out how to do virtual theater. So she was a major asset in that transition into the world of virtual theater. So thank you, Shannon Walsh.
But that's where I remember Landon's name from. I remember he was kind of a newbie at that time.
He was, and he was great in that. And he also was in Vintage Hitchcock last fall, which was another virtual show we did. And he was in The Odd Couple recently, this past February. And then we have Lily McGill, who has been involved with the theater for about 10 years. So she's a veteran, certainly. We have Brandon Guillory, who's been involved with the theater since 2015. So he feels like a veteran. And we have Yvonne Erasmus, who is newer to the theater. She's playing Mrs. Bradman, and she got involved with the theater in 2018 when we did A Christmas Carol. So it's a really, and a brand new person, Carly Woodard, who is playing Edith. So it's a really, really great cast, a combination of veterans and newer people. So it's kind of perfect.
So it opens on the 24th. Now, what is what is the run for the show, and how can we get tickets?
Yes, it opens actually the 23rd, Friday the 23rd, and then it runs through Sunday, May 2nd. You can get tickets by going to our website at theaterbr.org or by calling our box office at 924-6496.
Now, are you guys limited capacity still, or are you back up a little more? I'm assuming you're still COVID restricted a little bit.
We are still limited capacity, but not as limited as we have been. I'm sure, as you remember, back in the fall and even earlier this spring, we were limited to 40 people in our 327 main stage. Now we're comfortably going up to 80 to 100 people. We could go up to 150. I'm not quite comfortable yet doing that, but as the need presents itself, we will figure that out. Hopefully, as we move into phase 4 later in the year, fingers crossed.
Spring classes, summer camps, is all that back on this year? I was reading something about Jada Travelers doing some things for 5 to 8 year olds right now.
Yes. So thank goodness, Johnny, we are back to the place of live camps and classes. We actually start a creative dramatics class for first to fifth graders this coming Saturday morning. It's from 9 to 10:30, and that is taught by Jada Traveler. She is actually a Baton Rouge native. She teaches at Forest Heights Elementary, and she's wonderful. If your child is interested in getting into the world of theater or has some theater experience and they're about to be in the first to fifth grade, this is the class for you. So make sure to sign your child up. We also have an acting through song class beginning this coming Sunday at noon, actually, taught by Victoria Clement, who I did not mention, who is also in Blithe Spirit. She is playing Elvira in Blithe Spirit. She's wonderful. She has been involved with the theater for about 10 years. She was involved when she was in high school. She went away and she worked professionally for the past several years. I knew her when we were both in school at LSU, and she is back, and she is fabulous. So she's going to be in Blithe Spirit as the dead ex-wife, Elvira. And in addition to that, she's going to be teaching this acting through song class that starts this coming Sunday. So that is for 13 to 17-year-olds. And then we have live summer camps coming up.
Tell me about that. Is that also available with information on the website and pre-registration and that?
That's absolutely right. All of the information is on the website. You can register on the website, or you can register by calling the box office. We have 2 camps that we have announced at this point, and those are our musical theater camp, which is going to be taught by Beth Bordelon, who, of course, music directs all of our Young Actors Program productions and has been a longtime volunteer with the theater. That is going to be June 14th through 25th. We're very excited about that one. We already have several registrants, and our capacity is 15. So make sure to register your 6th to 12th grader as soon as possible. And then we also have a creative dramatic for kids camp, which is going to be grades 1st through 5th, and that is going to be taught by Brandy Johnson, who, of course, played Meta Larkin several years ago when we did Newsies. She was the voice of Audrey 2 when we did Little Shop of Horrors. She is an epic talent, and you are going to want to take her Lion King experience camp. It's going to be a lot of fun. So lots of great stuff coming up, and we also have more shows coming up.
Well, yeah, I want to get into that because one of my favorite books was a show that you're going to be. I'm a big fan of the writer Mitch Albom, and you got a show coming up. But before that, the 75th anniversary, 75 years of theater with Theater Baton Rouge, and you have a big gala that I know is probably sold out by now. But just a few seconds on the gala coming up at the Lake House.
So we're really excited about the gala. It is one of our 75th season celebrations. It is going to be May 23rd at the Lake House on Old Hammond Highway, as you mentioned. It's directed by Keith Dixon, who was, of course, the managing artistic director at the theater for the 10 years before I took the job in 2014. So many people know and love Keith. He's directing that show. Terry Bowman, who, of course, has also been involved with the theater forever since the 1970s, is music directing that production. And it's a celebration of basically 75 years of Theater Baton Rouge. They're showcasing talent that has been involved over a multitude of years, showcasing songs from musicals that the theater has done over the past 75 years, and telling stories from experiences from volunteers and production workers and staff members over the past 75 years. So it's going to very much be a celebration of Theater Baton Rouge and its history. It is out. That's the bad news that I have. It's completely sold out at this time.
I'll find a way,
of course,
kidding.
Yeah.
But you got some A-list. I consider A-listers like Terry Bowman's an A-lister. You know, if you want to get in there, Melanie Cuvion, Ray Gaspard, of course. John Salinger's coming in from Houston for that one. So many others. Albert Nolan. I mean, geez, these are great names that I knew of when I saw them in performances or worked with them in volunteer organizations all over Baton Rouge. These are definitely A-listers coming to this thing.
No, I agree. The performers that we have are amazing. Some of the ones that you listed are, of course, some of our very popular performers over the past several years. Some more, Celeste Vayon, Anna Andrikane, Molly Bookman. So many people who are really staples in the Baton Rouge area as far as musical theater goes. So I think that it's really going to be a star-studded evening, and we're very excited about it. But we also have other celebrations.
Yeah, let's talk about Tuesdays with Morrie. Great book. A lot of people have read that book. I had no idea that made it to the stage.
Yes. So, of course, as you mentioned, it was a very popular book in the 90s, if I'm correct, by Mitch Albom. I love it. I've read it many times. It was turned into a play about 7 years ago, and the play is actually really, really wonderful. In some ways, the play works even better than the book. The play, of course, is adapted by Mitch Albom and Jeffrey Hatcher, who is well known for works like Stage Beauty, and he wrote a new adaptation of Confederacy of Dunces, which is really, really great. It's a really fabulous play about it's basically Mitch Albom's biographical story of his visits with one of his former professors who is dying of Lou Gehrig's disease, or ALS. And so he goes to visit him, and they strike up a very important friendship and camaraderie, and that really changes the other's life for the better very, very much. It stars Jack Lampert, who many people know. Jack has been with Theater Baton Rouge for over 10 years now. He is playing Morrie Schwartz, and then it stars Travis Daigle, who recently debuted with Theater Baton Rouge in our recent production of Clybourne Park. He is going to be playing the character of Mitch. So that's going to be at the very end of May in our studio theater. Of course, that seats 90, and we are capping that at 40. So we're only going to be seating 45 for each of those performances.
Gotcha. 12th Night? Did I see where you're doing that?
12th Night. So our final show, actually, of the 2020-2021 season is going to be our Young Actors Program's production of 12th Night. That is going to be happening on our main stage from June 18th through 27th. It's a really, really wonderful Shakespeare production about a young woman named Viola who is shipwrecked at sea. And she has to dress as a man to work for the local duke so she can make some money and get by. Now, it's a really funny comedy that is featured in Shakespeare in Love and a number of other things. Carol Moore, who is directing this production, is actually setting 12th Night in the world of the John Hughes movies, like The Breakfast Club, Pretty in Pink, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Some Kind of Wonderful, all of those really classic John Hughes movies. And so all of the characters are going to be high school students within that world. And it's going to be really, really great. I think it's kind of the perfect Shakespeare play to set in a world like that specifically. musically. And I think it's a great way to introduce some of these kids who haven't done Shakespeare before to the world of Shakespeare. And it's a great way for the people who are experienced with Shakespeare to really take on a meaty production. So we're excited about this one, and we have a really great cast for that as well. Our assistant director and our stage manager are alumni of the Young Actors program, so we're also very excited to have them back working with us.
Now tell me you're going to do Rocky Horror in October, yes?
Fingers crossed, Johnny. You know, we're actually having a
Just go ahead and make the formal announcement right now. Yes, we're going to do Rocky Horror in October.
So we're going to try to do Rocky Horror in October. We're going to be having a play selection committee this week, meeting this week, and we're going to be talking about that. But I know that everybody really wants to figure out how to do Rocky Horror. We know that's a fan favorite, and we're going to do everything we can to see if we can figure it out. How about that? How about that?
You got several. What is this? This is April, May, June, July, August, September. You got 5 months to work this out. And nobody really needs to rehearse because everybody that you would choose for your cast knows the the lyrics and the songs and the dance moves. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put it out that Jenny Ballard said we're going to do Rocky Horror in October. Jenny, thank you so much. I'm excited to see Blythe Spirit opening this week. I'll definitely see that show, and I'm so happy that finally things are getting back to where we can get into some degree of normalcy, especially with the arts. The arts have taken it so hard.
I know. It's been a really rough year, and it's I feel like we've had a tiny glimpse into what the world could be without art and music, and I hate it. And I think a lot of people really, really need that in their lives. So I think that it is so important that we can get back to some kind of normalcy sometime soon. So we are certainly excited that we have all of these activities coming up, and we hope for a more normal season next year.
Wow, what a great visit with Jenny Ballard from the Theater Baton Rouge. And if you get a chance, go see Blythe Spirit. It is now running, or will be running, starting the 23rd, which is later this week. Let's see, today's the 20th, so 3 days from now. While I was putting all that together for a little theater show, as local folks are returning slowly, social distancing, back to some live performances, I got an email from a friend of mine, a contact of mine out at the Sanger in New Orleans. And to my pleasant surprise, the Sanger is back now with some live performances as well. They will be starting with their first performance of the 2021-22 season coming up in November. And I put together for you a list of their shows. Look at this lineup. Broadway returning to the Sanger November 9th through the 14th, Tootsie on stage at the Sanger. And then, I'm sure you've seen this one several times, and it's worth seeing again and again, Cats, December 14th through the 19th. Then Hadestown, right over the holidays, December 28th through January 2nd. And then after the first of the year, they have 4 great shows, Frozen among them, Disney's Frozen, February 10th through the 20th. And then in April, of next year, April 5th through the 10th, Anastasia. Mean Girls opens May 17th through the 22nd, and Hamilton will have a nice little run, but every show will sell out. Get your tickets for Hamilton. It's going to be next summer, June 21st through July 10th, 2022. If you haven't seen Hamilton, I can't even tell you about that show, other than the fact that it's a not to be missed program. So make sure you see Hamilton when it comes to town next year. But again, so live theater kind of returning, and it's making life feel a little more normal. I get criticized from friends of mine, actually, when I point to my COVID vaccine. You're considered fully vaccinated 2 weeks or longer past your second shot. So if you've had the first shot, you're not considered fully vaccinated. If you've had the second shot, you're not considered fully vaccinated until about 2 weeks or longer past that second shot. I've had both. It's been over a month, 6 weeks ago, and no problems. And you're not going to have a problem with the shot. So even though I've got friends watching that are going to, rag me about this, you have to do what's right for you. But I'm encouraging my circle of friends to go ahead and get the shot. I get to go see Mom in Beaumont, Texas, for the first time in 15 months this week. I'll be on the air with you tomorrow morning, Wednesday, and then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I will be in Texas visiting Mom for the first time in 15 months. And I think I said weeks, 15 months. And if that was the only reason I took the COVID shot, that's going to be darn worth it. So definitely consider it. Pray about it, consider it. Don't forget Kenny Gayot's funeral. It'll be coming up tomorrow at 11. Visitation this afternoon at 6 to 8. Grace Life Fellowship on Behringer Foreman. And then the funeral will be tomorrow at 11 with visitation starting at 10. Coach Kenny Gayot. We lost a powerful man here in the Baton Rouge community. He died at 76 years old this past Sunday. And again, his funeral will be tomorrow here in Baton Rouge. So check that out. I've enjoyed being with you. I'm going to go have another cup of coffee and kind of chill out a little bit. I hope you do too. Have a great Tuesday. Weather today and tomorrow, fantastic. Steve says we may have a little rain coming in on the weekend, but we'll worry about that on the weekend. Until then, this is the Asian Nation every Tuesday at 11.